In example 1, we're going to find the missing factor of each equation. So here I have 18 c to the ninth, and I'm going to say that it's equal to, and then negative 6c to the fourth. So what do I need to multiply this by to come back to 18 c to the ninth? All right, so I have a negative 6. I need to get a positive, so this needs to be negative. And then 6 times 3 is going to give me the 18. And then c to the fourth, how many c's do I need to add them up to 9? I'm going to need 5 more. So my missing factor is negative 3c to the fifth. So B, I want to do the same thing. So 8 times 2 is going to give me the 16. X squared, what am I missing? I need 2 more x's to make x to the fourth. And I have a y. How many more y's do I need? I need 2 more to come up with y to the third. All right, so to find the greatest common factor, this is something you've done before. We're going to call it a GCF. We're going to talk about it a whole lot. So GCF of, in this case, 48 and 36. So there's a couple of ways to do it. So this first one, we're going to list all the factors of 48. So, of course, 1 goes into it, and I'm going to put the 48 times over there. So 48 also goes into it. 2 goes into it 24 times, so both of those. 3 goes into 48 16 times, so both of those go in. 4 goes into it 12 times, and then 6 goes in 8 times. Of course, 5 won't go into it, or 7 won't go into them, so you can kind of see that duplication. So once I come up and I start getting duplicates, I don't need to do it anymore. So I'm going to do the same thing for 36. What numbers go into 36? Well, 1 goes into it 36 times. 2 goes into it 18. 3 goes into it 12 times. 4 goes into it 9. And the last one then would be 6 and 6. So it's kind of duplicating right there. So that's, I guess that's redundant. So what we're looking for is the greatest common factor. So I want the greatest factor, the biggest one that goes into it. You can see 2 goes into both. So those are both factors. 3 is factors. 4 is a factor of both of them. 6 is a factor of both of them. And let's see if there's any bigger one that happens. Oh, here it is. I was kind of going up and down. You got this 12 goes into both of them, and that's the biggest number that I see on both lists. So I'm looking for a number that's on both lists, which is 12. So I would say that 12 is the greatest factor that 48 and 36 have in common. So you have to kind of, you don't have to go through that procedure every time. I pretty much do that in my head, you know, and think of the different things that go into 48 and 36 and determine in my head which one's the biggest. So this is kind of a hard one because it's a pretty big number right there. The other thing you can do is to write a prime factorization. So if I have 48, I'm going to do it this way. 2 goes into it 24 times. 2 goes into 24 12 times. 2 goes into 12 6. 2 goes into 6 3. So 2 won't go into that, but 3 goes into it 1 time. So once I come down to a 1, I'm finished. So I'm going to have 2 to the 4th power times 3. Then I'll do the same thing with the 36. Again, 2 goes into it 18 times. 2 goes into 18, 9. 2 won't go into 9, but 3 goes into 9 3 times. And 3 goes into 3 once. Once I get to the 1, I stop. So this time I have 2 to the 2nd power times 3 to the 2nd power. The GCF is going to be made up of one of each kind of factor. So there's going to be a 2 in my GCF, and there's going to be a 3 in my GCF. Then I need to choose the larger exponent. So 2 to the 4th. Oops, is that going wrong? I need to choose the smaller exponent, 2 to the 2nd. So what do they have in common? Well, they have 2 2's in common. And as far as 3's are concerned, what do they have in common? Well, they just have one of those 3's in common. So this is a 2 right there. So that's going to be 4 times 3, which again comes out to be 12. A little bit of a different way to find it. All right, so down here, we want to find the GCF of these two. So I know the GCF has got to have an X in it. I know it's going to have, and when I compare the X's, what do they have in common? Well, they have 2 in common. 2 X's in common. Y to the second, Y to the third. What do they have in common? Well, they have, again, 2 of those Y's in common. And then for the Z's, I have a 1 and a 4. So what do they have in common? Well, just 1 of those. So my GCF then is, GCF is this. All right, then for 8 and 12, now we're going to have to go back that a little bit. I'm looking for a number, the biggest factor that's in common for both of these. 8 would be the biggest possible, but it won't go into 12. So the next number that goes into 8 is a 4, and 4 will go into 12. So 4 is the greatest common factor for 8 and 12. They both have to have an X, and this one has 5, this one has 7, so they both have 5 X's in them. And then for the Y, 6 and 2, so they both have 2 in common. So remember, they both have to have it in order for it to go into the GCF. And there that is. So we're going to stop this one and we'll go to the next video.